Once upon a time, in a peaceful monastery high up in the mountains, a young man arrived with a troubled heart. His face was filled with sadness as he approached a wise monk who sat quietly under a tree, meditating. The young man sighed and said, "Master, my life is full of problems. No matter what I do, I always feel miserable." The monk smiled gently and nodded. He stood up and walked towards a small hut. He picked up a handful of salt and handed it to the young man. "Take this salt and put it into a glass of water," the monk instructed. The young man, though confused, obeyed. He took a glass, filled it with water, and stirred in the salt. "Now, take a sip," the monk said. As soon as the young man tasted the water, he spat it out in disgust. "It's too salty. I can't drink this," he exclaimed. The monk chuckled and motioned for him to follow. They walked through the monastery, down a narrow path, until they reached a beautiful, vast lake. The sun shimmered over the water, and a cool breeze flowed through the air. The monk handed the young man the same handful of salt. "Now, throw this salt into the lake," he said. The young man did as he was told. The salt dissolved into the clear water. "Now, drink from the lake," the monk said with a kind smile. The young man took a sip. This time, the water tasted fresh and pure. He looked at the monk in surprise. Both walked away from lake, and the monk sat down beside him and said, "The problems in life are like this salt. The amount of suffering is the same, but how much it affects you depends on the size of your heart. If you keep your heart small, like the glass, every little problem will make life bitter. But if you expand your heart to be as vast as this lake, no trouble can make you suffer." The young man's eyes filled with understanding. He smiled, bowed to the monk, and walked away with a lighter heart. Moral of the story: expand your heart and your problems will seem small,